Every time I read a new book with a new world and a new unique magic system, I put my own character in that world. I sort of come up with my own stories that happen outside of the main story I'm reading about. And you already know I love Brandon Sanderson. He's the GOAT when it comes to creative and cool magic systems. So today, I'm gonna share my character ideas for each of my 3 favorite Sanderson magic systems. Let's start with number 3. My third favorite magic system from Sanderson has got to be Surgebinding from the Stormlight Archive series. I mean, it's really cool. You get to manipulate the basic forces of nature, such as gravity, friction, light, etc. Out of the 10 possible powers, you get to use 2. Plus, you get a cool little friend, super powerful weapon, and awesome armor. But you still have to swear oaths and follow them if you want access to your powers, which I think can lead to some really epic storytelling opportunities. And Roshar as a setting is really unique, one of the most creative worlds I have ever encountered in fantasy. So let's talk about my character, and let's start with his Radiant Order. He's going to be a Skybreaker. You know, the guys who are all about following the laws to the letter. Here's the kicker though, my guy doesn't really care about the law, he cares about justice, and he realizes that sometimes the laws can get in the way of getting justice. He's the guy who will arrive at some small town in Roshar, encounter something wrong and then fix it. He's not a law enforcer, he fights for justice. If he has to break some laws to bring the bad guys to justice, he will happily do so. Think of him like something between Judge Dredd and Reacher. Sort of like a Western hero, but on Roshar. He cares about protecting people, but he also cares about actively going against the people who have done wrong. That is why he's a Skybreaker and not a Windrunner. Now I hear you saying, how is he a Skybreaker if he doesn't care about the laws? Well, the second ideal of the Skybreakers is the ideal of justice, where they swear to seek and administer justice. So we have no issues there. There are issues, however, with the third ideal, when Skybreakers choose a code to follow. Most of them choose the law and they follow it to the letter, but that is not required. My character could choose to follow his own personal code of justice, instilled in him by his family or by experience. But what happens when his sense of justice is put to the test? And also, think about what happens when a Skybreaker who doesn't follow the law to the letter meets with other Skybreakers and with Nail, the Herald of Justice. Is he going to confront them or is he going to run? I think there's room for some pretty interesting contrast and dynamics in there. My second favorite magic system by Sanderson is AonDor. As a magic user, with AonDor you can do anything. You can achieve any effect, as long as you know and you can draw the proper symbols and modifiers. The best description I have heard of this magic system is that it's like a programming language, and you basically have to code for the power you want to achieve. In theory, you have to draw the symbols every time you want to achieve the effect you're going for, which can be really complicated and it takes time. Here's the cool part though. You can program the magic ahead of time and stick it on an object you can carry with you. So imagine you want to fly. Drawing the symbols for flight each time is complicated and takes time. So you program them onto a ring, for example, and then boom, when you want to fly, you just activate the ring. Now to my character. I imagine him as a prepper. You know, those guys that prep in order to survive the apocalypse? Having survived the Riot, he would want to be ready for anything. And to be honest, knowing about the things that happen in Brandon Sanderson's books, preparing for the apocalypse doesn't sound all that crazy to me. Anyway, he'll spend his days in his home in Elantris, trying to make plans, and he'll work on preparing magic artifacts that he can use when things go south. I like the idea of him having access to all sorts of powers from across the Cosmere, and contingencies should anything fail. Imagine him as a Batman type character, paranoid and prepared for anything. Throw in some Kevin McAllister in there as well, because you know his house is going to be filled with traps in case anyone tries to attack him. But what if his paranoia is his downfall? What if in preparing for every possible disaster, he accidentally causes one? I like that story. I think that's a fun character to write. Now my favorite magic system, Feruchemy. There's something really cool about the way Feruchemy works. You store an attribute in a metal bracelet, during which the attribute is weakened. And when you need more of that attribute, you access the storage and pull as much as you need. I think it's a really elegant system. In Brandon's books, we've seen people store health, weight, strength, speed, senses, memories, etc. All of those are cool powers, but I don't think we've ever seen someone storing mental speed. And I think that's a really cool character. Here's how it works. My character has a bracelet made out of zinc. Every day, he is storing his mental speed inside his zinc bracelet, and during this time, he is dumber than usual. But when a need arises for him to be smarter, he can tap into the storage and draw on the mental speed he has been accumulating, making himself super smart. I feel like there's a cool story here. This is a guy who is dumb almost all the time. He's disregarded by the people around him, but then out of nowhere, he'll come up with a genius solution to a problem, stunning everyone. Think of the duality between Clark Kent and Superman. When he's Clark, he's mild-mannered and clumsy, but when he's Superman, he's confident and strong. I love this concept. I think this idea for a character who's mostly dumb, but then he's super smart when you need him to be, is super interesting. And I think it would work really well in an office-type setting, where he just gets to solve work problems in a super creative way. But the possibilities are endless. There you have it, my characters with Brandon's magic. Tell me your thoughts below. And do you want me to do this for other series and magic systems as well? I think I might do that. This whole exercise was really fun, and it shows that I can't wait to play the Cosmere RPG when it comes out. Anyway, consider subscribing. Here we have fun with fantasy and sci-fi storytelling. Peace!